biological model of how the first life forms originated on Earth. Now, they just now saying that they got this back in January 2021. I already told you that I wrote them a report back in 1984 explaining to them RNA and DNA. I did an extensive report on RNA and DNA. So now I've become a student of all of those people that tell me that they're quantum physics doctors and quantum physics scientists. I'm listening to all of them because to jump back in time, back and forth, we can do that all day long, all of us. It's called mind searching. But for us to be able to jump back in time, some would be billions of years ago, to determine whether we are of an RNA or DNA specimen or organism, we would have to really, really dig deep down inside of us, and that's going to scare a lot of us, because now you got to dig into the inside of you of what you truly really are, whether you're evil or good. I know some of you got kind of scared when I said that. If you are RNA negative, okay. I told you what Rh negative meant before. I told you that they were talking to you about being with no RNA blood at all. And if they determine you to be Rh negative or Ra negative, they're telling you that you are strictly nothing more than a Nephilim. You are a would-be so-called alien. And believe it or not, they didn't come to destroy the aliens. I need everyone to understand that. They came to destroy the celestial being, which is man. Stay with me, God. I know. I'm educating you to a point where you don't want to hear no more because it's going to get scary. I already know. That's been our problem in school. Whenever you start getting the truth, the first thing you wanted to do was hurry up and close that book because you didn't want to scare yourself. And I'm saying this because the Caucasian world, of the Caucasian world, of white world, once they began to start digging so deep into the history books, they closed them. They got tired of reading them. They got tired of reading about guys they found out were black, and they didn't want to hear it no more. They were like, wait a minute, Othello was black? They didn't want to hear that anymore. You know, they're going now only to find out that people that they really, really admire and that they read about and that they place in all of these would-be history books and storybooks. Machiavelli. Oh, Machiavelli was black? Nostradamus, he was black? Beethoven, he was black? I'm just telling you. So once they begin to truly dig into the history, like digging into this RNA and this RNA and DNA report and this study, they began to start closing the book because the fear comes in when you start realizing that you are not truly the would-be initial. It starts to put fear in you. Oh, we weren't the first people here. I was not amongst the first genetic makeup of people. By the way, I'm still not part of this genetic makeup of people that are classified to be an RNA, the celestial people of the planet. And I am classified as an alien, a Nephilim. Stay with me. They said that these findings, they add credential, credit to the idea that both DNA and RNA develop together from the same sort of chemical reactions at the beginning of life on our planet. And that the first self-republication of this molecule could have been mixed of both these nuclear acids, not just RNA, as suggested in the more established RNA world based upon hypothesis. One of the big issues with the idea that RNA alone gave us what they call a rise to life on Earth is how RNA was able to go through the necessity or the necessary self-replications that's reproducing itself process. RNA usually requires an enzyme to split, which we know involved after RNA was already initially on the planet. From what we know so far, it seems that RNA had some kind of helping hand in engineering life. And the latest experiments show that DNA could well have been it, creating what they call now some chemical molecule strand that can separate more easily than RNA alone. Notice what it said, it can separate more than RNA alone. That's because DNA has a problem. That's why now they're trying to recreate, or they're trying to create some substance that they can add to your DNA to alter your DNA, whereby it can teach your DNA how to do nothing more than decode and to become a reader. And that's what's bringing all about these things that is called viruses, because DNA does not have the ability to use something that is called an antibiotic, because it is not what would be classified to be human or mankind, and thereby is classified as nothing more than an alien or just a would-be organism that no one can recognize, and thereby it cannot fight off these would-be so-called viruses, as which they have identified to be viruses that are coming to destroy that which is known as DNA, which is the demon, which is known nothing more than an alien. But they're making this would-be so-called vial of a chemical to place inside of people who already obtained a reader and a decoder, which is known as RNA. And once they keep on injecting you with this would-be so-called chemical, they're trying now to destroy the RNA and give DNA a better chance of being able to become a reader and a decoder, which will never happen, because God himself created man. He did not put an alien here to take man's place. They were made. He could have. He could have done that initially. He could have placed on Satan here on this planet and told him to have dominion over everything on the planet. He could have told on Satan to make sure that he take care of them cotton crops, because he was going to give him some more alien would-be so-called demons, that he was going to want them to chop that cotton until they at least found themselves to be as dark as the Negroes that he had already created. Say with me, God Almighty. I keep telling you, the scientists, they don't like me. The historians, they despise me, because they don't want me here at this time to give you these truths, because they know once you begin to start accepting the truth and rejecting the lie, you're going to have life, and you're going to have everlasting life. But if you keep rejecting these truths, you're going to die and have eternal death, and that's what they are believing you're going to do. But let me do you a favor, because nobody's listening to me. Sunday, everybody just got home. They just now had their Sunday meal at someone would-be IHOP, maybe at the would-be Golden Corral, and who knows? If they made enough money in the church, they probably even stopped by what was known as Red Lobster, and they really got busy. But until we at least find some time for the last would-be speaker of the day, let's take a break.
Thank you, Yahoshua. Thank you for that truth. Now they have no excuse. Now you understand, those people that are on these calls, why all of this information is so critical. This also is why identifying yourself through indexing is so critical. Because if you index yourself, you're doing it because you understand the truth. You understand these things to be true. Because when you identify yourself to the world, you're standing up and saying, okay, this is me. And he's already told us that the Global Network has an RNA testing lab. They've been building out their capacity for these last few years to be able to handle the influx of all the tests that are going to be coming in. We've been talking to you about indexing. We've been telling you that this land, commonly called the U.S., is returning back to the 5 original unincorporated toxinous nations that were here before the Europeans came. Again, these 5 unincorporated nations want to know who you are, why you're here, what are your intentions, and therefore it's very necessary for you to identify yourself. If you don't, you are doomed. There's not an in-between. There's not a, well, I can skate by. If you're not identified, you're done. That's why we've been working so hard to get you all identified. Come forward. Declare yourself. Come forward and be recognized, as they say in the military. Again, we're just collecting simple information. of you have been very concerned submitting this information to us as if we want to steal your identity. We could care the less. Most of you don't have enough 2 nickels to rub together anyway, or you're up to your eyeballs in debt. Those of you that may have a few nickels and quarters to rub together, a few so-called dollars to rub together, you seem to be the ones with the most concern about giving us your birth certificate, your photo ID, and only the last 4 of your social. Now, I don't know about any of you, but I know that when I've had to go for a loan at a bank, which is just a loan, they require a whole lot more information than just that. So those of you that are concerned about giving us that information to identify you for the whole planet, it's not just the U.S., everybody on the planet, once you're put into the computer system, the whole planet will recognize you as a sovereign principal, and you've been identified. So get over it. Quit dragging your feet. Dragging your feet will only get you in trouble. Come forward and identify yourself. The information is on our websites, sovcpr.com and .org. Again, that's S as in Sam, O, V as in Victor, CPR like cardio, pulmonary resuscitation.com and .org. Dr. Henderson, Yahoshua Mashiach, has been telling the world for years now. He's been breathing life back into a dying world. With that, I will go ahead and yield back to you, sir.
As I return, I need the people to become more, I would say, knowledgeable of what they need to do to index themselves. There's a lot of people that's been calling and leaving messages because they're saying that they don't know exactly what to do. There's a lot of people that say that they're looking at the websites and they still don't understand. So what I've informed them to do, and given them advice that they might want to send a would-be email to Miss Shelley Bowen and explain and express to her exactly what it is that they want to know for information that they're searching for and looking for. What I did, and what I have been informing them, that the information in which is required is very simple. To identify yourself, it doesn't take a whole lot for you to do. You know, right now, you have been doing sensors, and we might call them sensors. You have been doing sensors now for every bit since 18 would be 80. A lot, they give it that time frame of 1880, knowing that by that time, something was known as the Church of the Latter-day Saints had began to build a library back in 1880. And inside that library, they were doing nothing more than housing in what they classified to be a record of identification for everyone on the planet in regards to them doing nothing more than identifying groups of people whereby they could qualify these groups of people at any given time. Believe it or not, everyone is running around now looking for family records, looking for family would-be so-called history. I can assure them that it's hard to get it now for the simple fact that one known as Ancestral.com has been working, I would say, in the past would be 50 years. They have been working with the Church of Latter-day Saints to do nothing more than squash and hide true history about the people of the planet. Now, I know it's sad because a lot of you placed everything that you have on this Ancestral.com. You would say that it's the best thing that ever happened to the planet. They also have one that's called 23andMe, one which is another ancestral would-be system. I can tell you that all of those systems have been set up to hide information rather than to give information. When dealing with the Ancestral.com right now, you have a lot of the would-be so-called celebrities and a lot of the scientists, a lot of the so-called would-be professors are dealing with Ancestral.com. And I would tell you that the majority of the information that you receive there is a total lie, manipulation. They will tell a African American, if they might call it that he's 10% would be Scandinavian, he's 40% would be African American, he's 30% Haitian, and they give you all these wild would-be so-called drawn up historical facts about yourself that has no truth whatsoever. The average individual that they have done a report on that they classify to be African American is not even an African American. And all the ships that they're finding right now of Africa descendants, if they might call them that, African descendants, they were not the same black descendants upon what we know to be now the United States of America. That's a fact. They got a place in would be Alabama. I'm sure a lot of you are probably familiar with it. They call it African Town. African Town, if you go there and speak to those people, I'm sure they'll be quite open with you to tell you that the old melanated black people that were there would tell you that they call themselves descendants, but they will also tell you that they were older descendants of this land, and they did not come from Africa. They would tell you that they were older than the descendants of those that classify themselves to be African or came from Africa. They were older descendants than them because they have always been on this land. They were created on this land, and they are older than any would-be creation on any other land. And those people, I would say the majority of them already know this. And believe it or not, you look in some of their eyes to see them as they begin to tear up when explaining to you the fact that they're not African Americans and they're not African descendants, and they don't care how many ships you dig up in would be so-called Red River, or if you dig them up in Lake Mead. They don't care anything about that, and I agree with them. That's why they used to have these little things they call trade beads as them, because those trade beads was being used all over the planet. And believe it or not, those ships, the majority of those ships that had individuals on them, that they were calling them nothing more than slaves, they never went to Africa and they never came from Africa. They never went to Africa and they never came from Africa, those ships. As a matter of fact, those ships was loaded with individuals so that they could go from around what was known as the United States of America from one port to another port. So these people are. They would pick up Negroes as far as Maine, and they would drive them down all the way to the tip of Florida, and there they would put them out. All of them that would refuse to get on the ship, and they would force them on the ship, would die somewhere between Maine and Florida out there in the water. And that's why now, when the water seems to be doing what it's doing, and I love it, society is running from all of the bullcrap that it's done dealt with on this planet, and it's hiding right now. And now all of the ships that they drowned all the people on is beginning to be exposed. I'm giving you some more of your DNA and RNA, so just stand by. I know you want that, but I need to get you to understand some other things that went along with your DNA and RNA. You didn't come on a ship from Africa, black folks, melanated people. You got on those ships and you sailed from Maine to Florida, from Florida to New Orleans, to the tip of Texas. From the tip of Texas, you stayed on that ship and you sailed around until they got to California. Some of you got off in California, those that didn't drown in between before they went there. Then they packed you up again in California, known as Khalifa, and they drove around on that ship once again until they got to what is known as Washington State. And they put some of you Negroes out there, if that's what they were calling you there. And a lot of you drowned. A lot of you drowned on the Mississippi River going around. A lot of you drowned out there in the oceans because the ship sank. That was mutiny on the ship. The black men did not want to be taken from their wives and their children in Maine and floated around on a boat all the way down to Florida, and from Florida all the way around to New Orleans and Texas, from Texas all the way around to California, from California all the way around to Washington, when they could have just walked through the land if they wanted to and got there in a few weeks. And they knew once they docked at all of these places, there was going to be someone there to trade for them. In Florida, they was trading fish and all kinds of other would-be seafood. They were trading them for bodies that came from, you're right, Maine. And they were doing the same thing in New Orleans and Texas, along with trading beef and chickens in Texas. And by the time they got to California, they were trading all types of would-be so-called gold and silver, because by now they had already had that so-called would-be San Francisco 49ers, which they had already rolled through. They had opened up a bunch of gold mines and diamond mines. So now they're trading diamonds and gold. So by the time they get to the state of Washington, where it was plentiful, nothing more than oil and would-be so-called fuel, based upon the fact they had cut up a bunch of would-be giant whales, and they were sucking oil out of the whale, using it for lanterns and all kinds of other stuff. And they were trading, Negroes again, as they were sailing them around on the boats. And the average Negro now, you cannot get him to understand, you would not put on a boat and take him to would-be Africa, neither will you put on a boat bought from Africa. You will put on that boat in Maine. You will put on that boat in Florida. You will put on that boat in New Orleans. You will put on that boat in Texas. You will put on that boat in California. You will put on that boat in Washington, and you will sail out into the oceans around so they can trade you in these different would-be so-called port areas. And there, many of you died. Many of your fathers, they sunk on ships. You know why? They packed more cargo on those ships, but they put more people than cargo. And then the ships begin to sink. I'm just telling you what happened. So stop it with the stories about Africa. You know, I love to hear the African brothers' conversations and their talk. I am not from Uganda. Uganda is Los Angeles, California, just like the movie presented it to be. It don't get no better than that. So stop it. I know. These are the days that really, it's like it gets to your spirit because you're teaching people the truth, something that your history teachers did not teach you, something that your history teacher taught you, and knowing that the things that your teachers taught you as history teachers were lies, total lies. And most of them, they lived on the other side of the tracks, your history teachers. Most of them, they had Cadillacs. Most of your history teachers, they got schools now named after them. But you need to understand, they were liars and manipulators, not heroes and crusaders. What we have to do to get the world right, just balance it out is all we're asking, Father. Just balance it out. Get the women, folks, so they understand you are not more intelligent than the men. You're not stronger than the men. You haven't came up with a brighter plan that's going to outdo the men. For the matter of fact, you are just like you was when it first started out. You were just as ignorant as you was, as arrogant as you was then, that you did not want to find yourself beneath anyone, knowing that you should have been taking the bottom seat, because the bottom seat is where the protection is. God Almighty. Have gone well traveled. God, stay with me. I just thought I was throwing it in there. That's what the Caucasian Caucasian world fought by way of losing all the blackness out of its pineal gland. He began to lose that black out of his pineal gland, which caused even his eyes to change the colors in his retina and to change colors in what is known as his lens. And he began to get all these wild colors of green and blue eyes, not knowing that that's because he was losing his would-be blackness of what was known as his pineal gland. Stay with me. God Almighty. Someone help us. We need to know the truth, and the truth is here. All they got to do is open their ears and accept it. Once they receive the truth, they will be set free, and they will be free indeed. But they must accept the truth. They got a bunch of people, 538 of them right now, sitting in a place they call Washington, D.C., that everyone is holding them accountable for teaching everyone morals, respect, honor, bravery, courage. They got 538 of them up there that they have chosen to do this. For 328 million people, they have chosen 538 men and women to teach them these things in which I just mentioned, and none of them have this quality about themselves whatsoever. Stay with me. I don't care. I'm talking about the whole would-be bunch of them. Not one of them carries any of the qualities in which I just mentioned. They ain't got no courage, no morals, no respect, no honor. No, they don't. But if they did, they would stop the lie. They would even do what they call, if you want to stop the bleeding, you don't put a Band-Aid on it, they say. They said, if you want want to stop the bleeding, just turn it up for a little while. They won't even turn it up. They just keep right on allowing it to bleed out, even though it's going to bleed out slowly. No, I just can't. How gun will travel. They just don't want to go ahead and put it out of its misery. We can't do that. I mean, the average dog breaks his leg right now. They split it up, knowing that his leg is mingled to the point that it will never, ever heal itself. They just split it up. You know what it's like to see dogs coming out of a house with wheels for back legs? No, that's not a nice sight. Not to God, it may be to you. Because we know that he got on those wheels some kind of way. It was called suffering. The average black old person right now, when they prepare themselves to die, the first thing they do is they call all the family members in. And they make sure that they're talking to everyone in the family, and they tell them, when that time comes, boy, when that time comes, girl, just don't let me suffer. Ask the black family. They know. Just don't let me suffer. And you will bring a dog in. You want to operate on him knowing that he is suffering. Raise a dog, and we got to take care of him. We got to protect him. You are doing exactly what you're doing to the human beings. You make him suffer. What did he do? He lived, a year with kidney problems, terminal kidney problems. He lived maybe, a couple of years with a bad heart. And you call that prolonging his life? Are you serious? Yeah, go ahead. I'm not concerned. I heard what you said. And I want you to understand, when my heart gets bad, I'm not going to be looking for you to do anything to keep me here. I am going to be myself, calling out to my Father, get me out of here. And I guarantee you, if I get you trying to come in that room and try to keep me going, you and me, we got some problems. Trust me. I'm serious. You prolong the inevitable. You put everything that you touch, you put them through suffering. Because that's what you want. An old minister of mine, that I call him a minister of mine because I really admired him. And he used to always tell her that, go to the individual that you're praying for first. Ask them what are they praying for before you pray for them. Because you may just be praying for just the opposite of what they're praying for. So you might need to know what he's asking God for before you start asking God for stuff for him. Ask him first. Find out what it is that he wants. And I can assure you that old minister that I used to have, he used to stand in the middle of the church. He used to bring the people out. And he used to look them in the eyes. He said, what are you asking God for today? Let us pray for that. Now, I got you to understand. A couple people did tell him, I'm praying to get out of here. And he started praying right there. And Father, when they want to leave, let them leave. Let's get them up out of here. She says she got terminal cancer. She don't want to go any further with it. She's suffering. Her body is racking with pain. Father, get her on up out of here. Take her home. Put her with you. That's what he started doing. He started saying, let's heal her body. Let's take the pain. No. He asked her, what did she want? And that's what a lot of you need to do. Stop asking for stuff that other people are asking just the opposite from. Your grandma might not want to be here no more. She may be tired of being a slave. She's tired of people coming by her house, checking on her, and seeing if she's still alive just so they can get the Whitby golden cups that she's got Queen Elizabeth pictures on. She says to herself, get me out of here. Let them have those cups. And you keep on right on playing for her to stay there. To look at them cups another year. Stop it. I'm just being serious. I'm being straightforward with you right now because you need to understand that the rest of the world, all the other nations, this is what they're doing right now. They're getting ready to give America what they're asking for. America is asking for nothing more than to suffer. And they're going to make sure America suffers. They're going to give America every suffering that they want. That's what they're about to do. They're about to give America their suffering. America ain't going to have no monetary system. They're going to be suffering. That's their lifeline right there. No dollars, no cents. America is going to suffer, just as they're doing now, and it's going to get worse. I'm just giving you the truth. Based upon the fact that right now, this is a Sunday night, and we have to understand that Allah has chosen this particular night to bring people the truth about RNA and about what's going on the planet in regards to all the people of the planet. Why? Why do the nations with an S rage and the people plot a vain thing? The kings with an S, they have set themselves together with rulers, counselors, and they all have gotten together against Yahushua and against his anointed one, saying, let us break their bonds in pieces and cast their cords from us. I keep telling them that won't happen. See, the bonds and the cords that ties Yahushua with his son is stronger than any three-cord bind that man can make. You know, you're not going to be able to find those vines that Tarzan hung on while swinging through the jungle, doing nothing more than picking out a few more niggas that they could throw in crates and in cages to bring them to America from Africa. You're not about to find those vines, so you can stop wasting your time. Stay with me, God. I know that was kind of far-fetched, even for those of you who like Tarzan, the movie. We have a world now of truth. No more games to be played. The world is coming to a point now where recognition has to be everyone's would-be attention. Everyone's got to bring their mind to attention for recognition. Recognizing the truth. I have declared the decree. Yah, God of the universe, has said to me, you are my son. Today I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will give you the nations with an S for your inheritance, and the ends with an S of the earth for your possession. All you got to do, you shall break down the unrighteous with a rod of iron. You shall dash down the unrighteous to pieces like a potter's vessel. I say now, therefore, be wise, O kings, be instructed, you judges of the earth. Serve Yahushua, God of the universe, with fear, and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he becomes angry and you perish in the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed, anoint, whatever you want to use, are all those who put their trust in him. How long? How long, O you sons of men, will you turn my glory to shame? How long will you love worthlessness and seek falsehood? But know that Yahushua, God of the universe, has set apart for himself him who is godly. Yahushua, God of the universe, will hear when I call to him. Nothing you can do about that. He's going to hear. All I got to do is call it. This RNA and DNA thing is not going to go away anytime soon. For the matter of fact, as long as we have this thing that we call veins, as long as there's something that's flowing through them we call blood, we are going to have to deal with RNA for sure. And DNA, it is a must because it is now mixed in that same body. And because of that, we must understand that you will not be able to shoot everyone with some vaccine or some would-be injector, thinking that you're going to be able to change the DNA where it will be able to be a reader as well as a decoder, because the reader and the decoder will always be RNA, because RNA is the celestial being, and that is the being known as mankind, the most intelligent being of the planet that God placed here to do nothing more than be obedient. Wow. I got work to do. Still got some unbelievers out here. And it is Sunday. And they are still dressed up in their Sunday would-be outfits. I think some knowledge y'all, that preacher over there was still wearing his tie. Still got some of that barbecue sauce on his shirt there and on his tie that came from IHOP. But he's going to be okay, though. I know that his world will get better, too, as soon as he recognized the fact that I'm not trying to come and take his collection plate. As a matter of fact, I'm asking him, bring ye all the tithes back into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, says the Lord of hosts. Maybe that might help him go in and fancy himself up by getting some sleep. In the meantime, I looked outside my window once again. Yeah, it is dark out there. But yeah, there's that small desk. Got that candle on it, candle burning bright. That little old man is sitting there. What do you mean? Is he sitting there on a Sunday? Where else would he be? You gave him the date. You chose it. You recommended it for him. It said Sunday. And here he is. He's sitting right there at that desk. I can tell you, he don't take a day off, though. And I do believe that he uses all 7 days. Yeah, he rested on the 6th day, just as he always did. That doesn't mean that he don't be ready for the 7th day. Stay with me, though. We're okay. I know I won't go off on a tangent about my father. I'm just kind of, just like he is about me, I'm about him. Yeah, we get kind of frisky when we talk about each other, sentimental. We even find sympathy and empathy and all that other great things that he's placed on the planet. Him and I, we feel that way about each other, too. Meantime, I'm going to go and be obedient to him just as he has always commanded me to do. And I'm going to let you go ahead and get your rest. You have earned it. You have earned it based upon the fact he said you deserved it. Meantime, I'm going to say to you, get your rest. Relax. You're surely going to need it. Peace and love. And nightfall.